Do you catch yourself apologizing for taking up space, anticipating everyone's moods, and holding the room together even when your own heart is cracking? If so, you may be the child who became the parent before her time, the family's hidden hinge, the quiet rescuer, the one who never got to be small. Tonight, we will name what happened, why it still follows you, and how to lay it down without losing love. The role you were handed was never your destiny. It was the family's shadow, asking you to carry the weight they refused to lift. Parentification is the inversion of the natural order. The child becomes caretaker, mediator, therapist, provider, peacekeeper. On the surface, it looks like maturity. Underneath, it forges a mask that smiles while the soul shivers. In Jungian language, the persona of the good daughter grows large, while the inner child is exiled to the cellar. The result is an adult who excels at tending others and struggles to receive, to rest, to feel safe simply being. If this already feels like your story, you're not alone. Many empaths were trained, subtly or blatantly, to rescue a fragile parent, manage a volatile one, or stitch together a household frayed by addiction, illness, narcissism, or silence. You learned to read weather, not skies, faces, not clouds. You learned to give more than you had and to call that love. But this is not your fate. What was learned can be unlearned. Roles can be returned. The self can be restored. Let us begin with 8 clear signs of parentification, seen through the lens of depth psychology and lived experience. As you listen, notice which ones find you. Sign 1, you are the household barometer. You can feel a storm an hour before anyone speaks. You scan rooms the way sailors scan horizons. A sigh becomes a warning. A closed door becomes a siren. You calibrate your tone, your posture, your very breathing to keep the temperature down. As a child, this was intelligent. Hypervigilance kept you safe. As an adult, it bleeds your energy. Your nervous system is stuck in prepared to parent mode, even in calm weather. Sign 2, you apologize for existing. Sorry leaves your mouth before your truth does. You say sorry for asking a question, for resting, for needing a moment, for not answering immediately. This is the fawn reflex in polite clothing. You learned that harmony was your job and that other people's discomfort was your fault. Chronic apology keeps you small, makes your needs negotiable, and teaches others to expect your disappearance. Sign 3. Competence is your armor. You became the reliable one, the fixer, the scheduler, the late-night problem solver. People trust you with their crises because you always come through. Secretly, you fear that if you stop carrying, everything will collapse. Competence is beautiful, but when it becomes a shield, it blocks intimacy. You cannot be held while you are holding everything. Sign 4, you choose people you can save. Your heart is magnetized to the wounded, the chaotic, the brilliant but stuck. You fall in love with potential and then exhaust yourself trying to turn it into reality. You become therapist to your partners, manager to your friends, surrogate parent to colleagues. You call it loyalty. Often it is repetition. The psyche seeking to complete the old rescue that never worked at home. Sign 5. Asking for help feels dangerous. You pride yourself on self-sufficiency. You over-prepare. You do it all so no one has to worry. Under the surface lives the belief that your needs are a burden. To need is to risk rejection. To depend is to invite disappointment. So you carry alone, then wonder why you feel unseen. The truth, needs do not make you weak. They make you human and capable of bonding. Sign 6, you confuse peace with silence. You avoid conflict even when the cost is your authenticity. You smooth, explain, soften, rationalize. You leave your truth at the threshold so the room will stay calm. but the body keeps the ledger. The swallowed sentence becomes a headache. The forced smile becomes a knot behind your ribs. The unspoken boundary becomes resentment that leaks out sideways. Sign 7. You parent your parents. You field their late-night calls, absorb their crises, mediate their fights, manage their money, rewrite their resumes, carry their secrets. You sign up for being the adult's adult. When you try to step back, guilt roars. This is role confusion. It is not love's requirement. Love can be offered without becoming the family's unpaid infrastructure. Sign 8. You feel empty when you are not useful. Rest feels wrong. Pleasure feels suspicious. A free weekend brings anxiety because usefulness has become your identity. When you are not needed, you feel unmoored, as if you have lost your place in the universe. This is the final sign, the self eclipsed by the role. If several of these signs belong to you, take a breath. None of this is an indictment, and we will not leave you here. What was forged in survival can be reshaped in freedom. Here are 8 ways to undo parentification. Practical, compassionate, and rooted in depth psychology. Undoing 1. Name the role and return it. Write it plainly. I was assigned the job of keeping everyone okay. Speak it out loud in a safe room. Place the invisible tasks on paper: peacekeeper, therapist, accountant, protector, translator of moods. Then imagine placing those papers into a box and setting the box at the family doorstep, not as revenge, but as truth returned to its sender. The psyche responds to ritual. Naming the spell loosens it. Undoing 2. Reclaim your timeline. You grew up too soon. Now you are allowed to grow down. To sit on the floor with your younger self, to let her speak, to give her what she was denied: play, comfort, ordinary delight, permission to be unproductive. Set aside 10 minutes daily to do something impractical and gentle. This is not frivolous. It is reparative. The child does not disappear just because the calendar changed. She waits for you to come back. Undoing 3. Train the sacred no. No is not a weapon. It is a threshold. Practice short, honest refusals. I can't take that on. That doesn't work for me. I need to think before I commit. Put a breath between request and response. The first few times, guilt will bark like a guard dog. Let it bark. Guilt is old loyalty trying to pull you back into a burning house. It quiets when you keep walking. Undoing 4. Build a receiving muscle. Schedule support the way you once scheduled saving. Ask for a ride, a favor, a second set of eyes. Tell a friend, can you just listen, not fix? Begin small. Accept compliments without deflecting. Replace "you shouldn't have" with "thank you. This matters to me." Receiving does not make you indebted. It makes you connected. Undoing 5. Repair your relationship with conflict. Conflict is not cruelty. It is contact between truths. Practice clean confrontation. One feeling, one fact, one request. I felt dismissed when you joked about my boundary. Please don't do that again. Do it without apologizing for speaking. If the other erupts, you do not have to match their volume. Your calm is not submission when it is anchored in self-respect. Undoing 6. Create a boundary with the family system. Move from child to parent to adult relating. Replace caretaking with clarity. I'm not available for late-night crisis calls. Here are community resources. I can't manage your bills. We can look at a budgeting class. Expect pushback. Systems resist change. Stay steady. You are not abandoning them. You are refusing to abandon yourself. Undoing 7. Choose reciprocity as your new compass. Before you say yes, ask, is this mutual? Is care moving both ways over time? This is not a ledger for one day. It is a long pattern. Mutuality guards you from repeating the rescue romance and the fixer friendship. When you notice you are the only one carrying, put the load down and see what happens. Love that survives your boundary is love worth keeping. Undoing 8. Transmute guilt into purpose. Guilt will visit when you reclaim your life. Ask it what it thinks it is protecting, then thank it and walk on. The energy you once spent managing everyone else can become your craft, your study, your art, your rest, your friendships, your ordinary joy. In alchemical language, this is nigredo into rubedo, the heaviness that becomes a red living heat. 2 images often visit people who undo parentification. The first is a dream. You are carrying a house on your back. You set it down. To your surprise, it does not shatter. It sits on its own foundations, and you see for the first time how small it really is. The second is a memory, the day you laughed and did not feel guilty. Both are milestones. Both mean the roll is loosening. You may ask, how do I do this without losing my family? The paradox is that clear boundaries make genuine relationship possible. When the caretaker mask drops, the real daughter can appear. Some relatives will adjust slowly, awkwardly. Some will rage. Some will attempt to pull you back using scripts you know too well. The guilt appeal, the helpless appeal, the crisis appeal, the nostalgia appeal. You are allowed to love people and refuse their scripts. You may also choose distance. Distance is not hatred. It is clarity. Expect grief. The child who held the world together has to mourn the years she did not get to be carried. Grief is not a detour. It is the bridge. Let yourself feel anger at what was asked of you. Anger is the immune system of the soul. Its job is to say no more. On the other side of that anger, you will find a surprisingly quiet emotion. Relief. Relief is the body's way of recognizing truth. As you practice, watch for small indicators that you are returning to yourself. You wake and do not reach for your phone to check on anyone. You eat when you are hungry instead of when the room is calm. You answer, "Let me get back to you," and mean it. You leave a gathering on time and drive home with unclenched jaws. You sit in a chair without rehearsing speeches you will never give. This is what adulthood feels like when it belongs to you. You might wonder about love. If you stop apologizing, stop rescuing, and start asking, what do I need? Will love leave? Here is the quiet miracle. Love that required you to be smaller was not love. It was an arrangement. Real love makes room for both people's reality. It respects limits. It does not hang its survival on your self-erasure. When you change, false love falls away, but the love that is true will deepen because it finally has a person to know. Let's return to the child for one more moment. Picture her in a too big coat, sleeves covering her hands, eyes scanning for danger. Walk up to her. Kneel so your gaze meets hers. Tell her you do not have to guess the weather anymore. That is not your job. Take the coat off her shoulders and put it on a hanger. If there is no hook, imagine one. You are building a life where things have hooks, where burdens have places other than your back. Perhaps you were the one who cooked, who translated, who paid, who soothed, who solved, who smiled. Perhaps you were told, "You're so mature," when what they meant was, we needed someone to carry what we would not. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can refuse to repeat it. The family may remain itself. You are not doomed to remain your role in it. As you step out of parentification, you will feel 3 thresholds. The first is silence. Fewer explanations, fewer emergency texts, fewer reflexive yeses. The second is space. Empty afternoons that once would have been filled with other people's lives. The third is signal. Your inner life getting louder. Dreams return. Desires surface. Preferences appear like islands in clearing fog. Trust this. Individuation is not a theory. It is a daily practice of honoring the person you actually are. One last word about forgiveness. You might feel pressure to grant it quickly. Do not rush. Forgiveness without boundaries is just another form of self-abandonment. Let forgiveness grow at the speed of truth. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet acceptance. This is who they are, and this is what I choose. Sometimes it never arrives, and that is okay. Your wholeness does not depend on their remorse. If you need a sentence to carry into the week, let it be this: I am not the family's weather. I'm my own sky. When the old urges rise, to fix, to soothe, to swallow your words, place a hand on your chest. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Ask, is this mine to carry? If the answer is no, put it down. If the answer is yes, carry it willingly and briefly, then set it where it belongs. You were not chosen to be the parent. You were conscripted. Today, you choose to be a person. That choice will upset some patterns and save your life. And in time, it may bless the family more honestly than all the years you spent rescuing. Why? Because truth blesses everything it touches. When one person in a lineage stops performing and starts living, the pattern cracks, the air changes, and new futures walk in. When the house calls you back with old alarms, you will know what to do. You will check your breath, check your boundary, check your motive. If love is asking, you will give what is yours to give. If fear is demanding, you will step aside and let the storm pass without offering your body as shelter. You will remember that being good no longer means being gone. And one night soon, you will sit by a window with no one to manage, and the moon will rise like a slow, clean promise. You will feel how much of your life is still ahead of you. You will gather the hours that once slipped through your fingers and hold them like warm bread. You will realize the simplest, grandest truth. You are allowed to be here, just as you are, without apology, without permission, without a job to do. This is how the parentified daughter becomes a whole woman. By returning the role, reclaiming the child, training the no, learning to receive, welcoming honest conflict, setting the boundary, choosing reciprocity, and turning guilt into purpose, not overnight, not perfectly, but faithfully, one small, honest act at a time. The door is open. Step through. The life that is yours is waiting.